Hey, G-peeps, gun people. Let's look at the revolver safety mechanism here. I've got my own way of testing this, and I'm going to put that in there because I did a little video, but I figured I'd kind of explain this a little bit better with image on the internal before I show you my little, backyard gadget to test to make sure your gun's working properly on your revolvers. So, revolver's got a couple little internal safeties here. This little mark right here, basically, when the trigger's not pulled, it stops your hammer from being able to go forward and move, so it can't, if you drop it, it won't hit the round. So that's one safety. And then when you pull the gun, it moves back a little bit and it allows your hammer to move. And then you got this little piece internal that a lot of times you'll see right behind the trigger when you pull it. You'll see this little metal bar right here kind of moving up and down. Some of them it's a flat plate. This is common in Smith & Wessons. And this is called a hammer block, and it blocks the hammer. And right here what happens is you see it's blocking the hammer, so the hammer can't go forward and hit the firing pin. But then as you pull the trigger, it drops that right there, and it allows that to go in. Notice the firing pin right up here going forward. We'll show that again. See that right there? So this little thing drops. Now I'm going to show you how I test this without all the mechanics. Hey gun people, I want to do a couple of show you the difference of pulling the trigger on a revolver versus accidentally, because I say a lot that a revolver doesn't have a safety, and actually they've got a couple of little internal things that you have to go through some steps like single action, double action. But let's I'm going to zoom in right by that can, because that's where we're going to do this little demonstration here. Alright, so there's a little bar inside here. If you take the side plate off, when you take the trigger off, that there's a little blocker bar. Now on this one, remember it's a bobbed hammer, but if I go single action, I can still single action. If I pull the trigger on here, it allows the hammer to hit the primer. However, if you tap this gun, let's say it's cocked, people go, if you drop it, it'll go off. Well, that's not true. Most guns have an internal safety that if you pop that trigger, it will not go off. People are like, well, I don't want to be there to find out. Well, you're going to find out right now. So, here's the old ROM. It's an RG that I got. You probably can't see it that far, but anyway, that's one I picked up for 80 bucks. And somebody said, yeah, these had a bad rap about being unsafe. So I figured I would try it on this one. So what happens when you cock it? And I had to go to the store and get number 2 pencils. Nobody has number 2 pencils anymore. But anyway, I digress. So the hammer's cocked. You put the pencil in here, and when you pull the trigger, shoots the pencil out. So now I know that if there was a bullet in the chamber, the firing pin would have struck the primer. Pretty simple, easy test. That was on the wood side. If I do the rubber side, it won't pop all the way out. But it still jumps. But in order so you know that it's actually hitting, I put the pencil side down, fire it, and it pops it right out. So, now we're going to do the same thing, pencil side down, so it should fly, remember? Watch this, it's not going to move. Because I'm not going to hold this trigger back, I'm just going to tap it. So let's say I dropped it. How come the pencil didn't fly? But Rick, I was always told, and it said, and revolvers aren't safe, and it is. Shut up, you big dummies. Freaking guns have been around for a long time, they got this thing figured out. So because I didn't hold that trigger back when I pulled that trigger, that internal safety did not allow that pencil to fly. I'll do it again. No pencil fly. Hold the trigger back. Pencil fly. Just that little difference there. And so that's the way they're designed. Even if it's moving the pencil a little bit, it's supposed to be blocking the hammer so the bullet will not fire. And that's like an internal safety mechanism. That in. All right, we'll end that there.